Praise the Lord, church.
Hallelujah.
May we all bow our heads and close our eyes in prayer. Oh, dear Heavenly Father.
Yes, Father.
I thank you for the day that you have given each and every one of us, Heavenly
Thank you, Father.
I thank you for bringing each and every one of us here safely,
Thank you,
Heavenly
Father.
And I just ask that you allow
Yes.
for them to understand the word that you have brought to me today,
Yes.
Heavenly
Touch
Father.
right now,
I ask
Father.
that you allow them not to see me differently, Heavenly Father.
Yes.
I just ask right now, Heavenly Father, that you remove me of me, Heavenly
Touch
Father.
right
That you
now,
place your
Father.
Holy Spirit in me, Heavenly
Right
Father.
now,
Yes.
Right
Yes.
now, Heavenly Father.
Yes.
In Jesus' mighty name. I
Jesus'
pray.
mighty name.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a scripture for you this Sunday morning,
You have a word, all right.
but I have a few lyrics.
All right.
He saw the best
Mm-hmm.
in me
Yes.
when everyone else around could only see the worst in me.
All right. Oh,
He
sir.
is mine and I am his. It doesn't matter what I did.
Mm-hmm.
He
Come
only
on
sees
in,
me for who I am.
Yes, yes, yes. You better preach, child.
He saw the best in me.
Amen.
Not just me, First Christian, but in all of us.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, 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 yes.
When you were going through trials and tribulations and you had no, or you thought you had no one to turn to, he saw the best.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When you didn't listen to your parents and you were disobedient, he saw the best
No, you better hold on. Talk about
in
Jesus.
you. When you had more important things to do than to go to church,
Mm-hmm.
he saw
All
the
right.
best
All right.
in you.
Yes, he did.
When you were out in the streets late at night,
Mm-hmm.
he saw the best in
That's
you.
it. That's it.
When everyone else could only see the outside, the dark side, the mistake that you have made, he
Preach,
saw
child.
the inside.
Mm-hmm.
He saw you for what you truly were.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what you have done,
That's right.
what you have gone through, how far you have gone. He will always see the best in
Yes,
you.
he will. Yes, he will.
You are his. He
Yes.
isn't going to allow you to fall where he can't
That's
pick you
it. That's it.
back up.
Mm-hmm.
He saw the best.
Yes, yes, yes.
I have a few people from the Bible that he saw the best in.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
You have David.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
David was
Anointed.
a betrayer.
Yes.
He was a liar. He was
Yep.
an adulterer. He was a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
All that and then some.
He slept with a married woman,
And try to find her husband.
got her impregnated,
Mm-hmm.
but sent her husband to be killed because he was scared.
That's right. That's
But
right.
God saw the best in him.
Yes, he did. Yes,
You
he
can
did.
be a betrayer, you can be a liar, you can be an adulterer,
Yes,
you can
yes,
be a
yes,
murderer.
yes.
God will see the best in you.
Yes, he will. Yes, he
Yes, he
will.
will.
You have
Thank you. Thank
Joseph.
you.
No matter how many people went up against him,
Mm-hmm.
God never allowed him to fall
Mm-hmm.
where he couldn't be picked back up.
That's right.
God isn't going to allow you to fall. He isn't going to allow you to stumble. He isn't going to allow you to
No,
trip
sir.
where he can't help you
That's right. That's right.
right your ways.
There
That's
you go.
it.
You have Sarah.
Mm.
Sarah laughed
Mm-hmm.
at God. Sarah didn't have enough faith in God.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah didn't believe that God would allow her to produce a child at such an old age.
That's right. That's right.
But God saw the best
Yes, he
in
did.
her.
Yes, he did.
All right. All right.
God allowed her to produce that child.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sometimes what's wrong with us.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough faith. We don't have that belief in
Yes,
God
we-
that He could do what He says He will do.
All
Yes,
right.
yes,
All
yes.
right. All right.
But He continues
Yes.
to see the best in
Yes.
us.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
We have Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Paul persecuted Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Paul persecuted people like us.
That's right.
Paul persecuted God's people.
Mm-hmm.
But God continued to see the best in him.
Yes,
Yes,
he
he
did.
did.
And because of that, Paul changed his ways.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, he
instead
did.
of persecuting
Mm-hmm.
Christians, he was preaching to them.
That's
Uh-huh.
right. That's right.
That's sometimes the type of change that we have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
From the bottom
Mm.
to the top.
That's
Mhm.
it.
We have Peter.
Mm.
And Peter, in many ways, is like us.
Mm-hmm.
He followed Christ, but he still stumbled. He still failed.
Mm-hmm.
But God continued to see the best in him.
All right. All
Peter
right.
was not a perfect person, and neither are any of us.
Mm-hmm.
But God continues to see
Yes, it does.
the best in us.
All right. All right.
It doesn't matter what you have done. It doesn't matter what you are doing. He will continue to see the best in you. You are his child.
Mm-hmm.
He will not leave you alone.
Mm-hmm.
You can deny Christ. God will still see the best in you. And I'm saying that so many times so I can get it through your head that no matter what you do,
No matter what.
he will still see the best in you.
Yes, he will.
My goodness.
Look at me. I'm a child.
Mm-hmm.
I disobey my parents.
Mm-hmm.
I do things that I know I shouldn't do.
All right.
But he continues to see the best in me.
That's right.
Everybody sees the outside.
Mm-hmm.
When you were down, when you made the mistakes that you made. But he will pick you back up. He
Yes,
will
he will.
fix you
Yes,
back
he will.
together, and he will
Say it. You saw the best in
tell you that he saw the best in you.
it. All
That's
right,
it.
all
That's
right.
it.
God knows you.
Mm-hmm.
You are his.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you did is in the past, in the sea of forgetfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He will only see the best in you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You see, I had this written out. I was going to write it out. But then, as I was practicing, as I was going through it in my head, I just couldn't. My words were going miles and miles per minute that I didn't have enough time to write it down without losing the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now, I'm just going to allow the Spirit to lead me and guide me
All right. All right.
into preaching this.
Man, that's what you asked for.
He saw the best in me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Say it.
He saw the best in me.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
All right.
Many of us weren't always a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us have already gone through that time in our life where we were down,
Mm-hmm.
where we were at the bottom and didn't think we could get back up.
That's right. That's right.
But he saw the best in me.
Yes, yes.
And I want you guys to understand that. When I say he saw the best in me, I don't mean he just saw the best in you. I don't mean he saw the best in you because of your sin, because of your wrongdoing.
All right. That's right. That's
No.
right. Come on.
When you sin, you're back at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pray, you have to repent, you have to do all these things to get back up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that when you sin, he's going to see the best in you and you can just forget about it.
That's right. That's right.
I want you to understand that when he sees the best in you, you have to want him to see the best of the best of the best of the best in you.
Yes.
You have to want him to not just see you at your lowest.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're at your lowest, he is going to help you. He is
Yes,
going
he
to
is.
provide
Yes,
for
he
you.
is.
But you have to
Yes, he does.
grow
Amen.
and learn. You have to be like a plant. That seed is not going to grow without water or sunlight. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the seed starts at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It starts in the soil.
Mm-hmm.
And for us right now, the soil is the destruction of the world.
Come on.
It's the sin that surrounds us today.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're the seed and we're in that soil. And with God, we have the water. We have the light that allows us to grow.
Yes.
But that seed doesn't just grow.
Mm.
That seed sprouts.
Mm-hmm.
That is no longer a seed. That is a plant. That is a flower. That is something that has bloomed. And that's what we have to be like.
Come on now.
People don't want to see a
Come on,
seed.
come on.
They want to see the outcome of that seed. They want to
Yes,
see
yes.
the beautiful
All right,
flower.
all right.
And that's what we have to do. We have to allow God to see the best of the best of the best of us.
Yes.
All right.
No matter our past.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what we did in that soil, we have to allow God to see the beautiful flower that he has created.
Yes.
All right, take your time. Take your time. You preach.
He has to see you for you.
Mm-hmm.
And when he sees you for you, you have to allow other people to see you for you.
What's that?
You see, you can't just be a Christian.
Mm-mm.
You can't just go to church on Sunday
No.
and that's it. Or
That's
go
right.
to church on Wednesday and that's it. Or go to church cleanup on Saturday and that's it.
Come
Or
on.
the food pantry on Thursday and that's it. You might be an active member inside the church,
Yes.
but that's only 4 walls.
Mm.
Where the outside people, the people that really need it,
Come on.
are not in.
Mm-hmm.
Those people need the word. Those people need witnesses. Those people need Christians going up to them. Are you saved? Do you have a church home? They need people to witness to them, to
Yes.
show them what Jesus has done for them.
Yes.
And I'm not just talking about sharing Jesus Christ's story, his birth, his life, his death, his resurrection, his ascension. I'm talking about your story.
Come on. Come on.
What about your story? What about the things that God has brought you out of? What about that time that you were a seed and not the beautiful flower that you are today?
All right.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
All right.
My last message was about, well, my second to last message was about change. And before I even preached, I danced to a song, I'm Yours. And in that song, I felt my eyes being open. And I felt a renewedness. And I felt a change in me.
That's it.
And when I preached that sermon, I felt it. I felt the change. I felt the need to tell you guys my story.
Yes, yes, yes.
But I was still afraid.
Mm.
I was still in a corner where I felt trapped. Would they believe me?
Mm.
Would they shun me away? But here today, I don't care.
Come on, child.
I don't care. I want to tell you my story. I want to tell you the things that God has brought me out of, because that is the only way that you will see and that you will believe that God has truly done something.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. All right.
And so today I'm going to share my story. When I was 9 years old, I was molested by my cousin. And that really messed with me. And for 4 years, I was molested by my cousin. And I didn't tell anyone because
All right. All right. All right.
Okay.
Come on.
I didn't tell anyone because I was afraid.
Take your time.
I was afraid of what they would think of me. I was afraid of what they would do to me. I was afraid of them calling me crazy.
Let God.
But I told my parents last December
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
about the things that I went through.
All right. Take your time, God knows, Harry.
And
He
because
knows. He knows. Break the chains.
of those 4 years,
Break the chains.
I was depressed. Because of that, I started to smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I started to drink. And I don't just mean drink Smirnoffs or easy stuff. I mean full-on drink. And I don't just mean smoke cigarettes. No, I smoke weed. And I want you guys to know that about me. I want you guys that this perfect little 14-year-old that is anointed, that is preaching God's word, I am not
Tell your
perfect.
story. Yeah, that's just
I
something we
want
went
you to
through.
know that. I want you to know that I am not perfect, that I have stumbled and I have failed, but God was by my side and
Yes,
He
He
picked me
was.
back up. That He illuminated me, that He came me, and I feel that.
He saw the best
Because
in
He
you.
saw the best
in
in
you.
me.
Yes,
right.
yeah.
That's
He
right.
did.
And for so many years I was depressed. And when you think depressed, I don't mean sad. I don't mean laying in bed all day. I mean I was angry.
Yeah.
I was angry because my parents didn't understand me. I was angry because I didn't tell anyone. I was angry because my cousin did this to me.
All right. All right.
I was angry.
Take your time. You're breaking the
Let it
chains,
go, baby.
Harry. Breaking the chains.
There's many things that I did that I'm not proud of.
We all have.
There's many things that I did that
Come on.
I used as coping mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
But those are not coping mechanisms for me anymore. Those are sins that I have done and that are wrong, and that I understand that now, and I have to believe in
All
God that
right.
He will take those
All
sins
right.
and take them to the sea and forget them.
He saw the best.
They are in the past.
All right.
And that I know that I can believe and I can use Him and that I can use His strength
Mm-hmm.
and tell my story.
All right,
Yes.
Harry. Break the
Many
chains.
people need to hear this.
Yes.
Many people need to
Yes.
see that you don't have to be
Bound
in your
no more.
20s
That's right.
to go through something. You don't have to be an adult to go through something.
That's
That's
right.
right. That's right.
You can still be a child
A teenager.
and go through something.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
I'm glad that I shared my story with you today. I'm
It's
glad
all
that I
right.
finally opened up to my church home.
That's all right,
All
child.
right, Harry. Be blessed, God.
That's
And
your
now you
testimony.
guys understand that that is my testimony.
That's right. That's right.
And He saw the best in
He
me.
saw the
Yes,
best in you.
And you have a testimony. Each and every one of you have a testimony that you should share to allow people to see that God did see the best in you and that
That's
He
right.
brought you out and He's going to continue to bring you out when you stumble and fall, because that's just the way of life.
All right.
God.
He saw the best in you.
When you stumble, He sees you
Mm-hmm.
and He sees the best.
Yes.
When you fall, He will pick you back up.
Go
He will
ahead and
not
preach
leave
it now,
you on the
child.
ground.
Mm-hmm.
Now preach it.
He sees
It's
the
out
best.
there.
Yes.
Preach, child.
No matter what you have done, He will see the best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you are doing, He will see the best.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to allow God to see the best of the best.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Not just the best, not the bottom of the best. He has to see the top of the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And He has to know that you aren't afraid to share your story. He has to know that you aren't afraid to share Him.
All right. That's it right
To
there.
share Him and be able to tell
Yes.
somebody, this is what God did for me. This is what God brought me out of that 4
Yes.
years that I was trapped, and I felt I was trapped. I still had God by my side.
All the way.
Yes.
And
All the
I
way.
knew that.
All the way.
Those were the early years of my ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Think about
And in that time, I couldn't get into my ministry because of the things that I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
But my second to last message, that changed all of that.
Let God.
He saw the best.
I may not have told you guys, but I've been and told my parents the issues that I've gone through. And they knew. And so when I said change, they had a deeper understanding of what I meant by that.
Mm-hmm.
Proud of you. Proud of you.
It's all right, baby.
Before I preached that message, I thought I needed help. And not God's help, but
It's all right.
man's
All
help.
right, that's right.
All
I
right.
thought I needed a psychiatrist. I thought I needed a therapist. But I didn't need that.
Mm-hmm.
I needed God.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's deep. That's deep.
And with that, I found that I had God. And that He was with me. And that He never left me.
All right,
That's
Ari.
right.
And that we all need to go to God.
That's right.
When the point in our life that we feel we are our lowest.
Mm-hmm.
We've all had that type of story that we needed to share.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've shared mine,
Proud of you.
what is yours?
Ah.
What's your story?